Hey, we're Saints. Father Chris here. Welcome to our Crucifixional live stream. Glad to have you beautiful people with us. Christ is risen. Hope the day is great for y'all. So this week, as we mentioned yesterday, we're going to be talking about our children and how to raise them. I saw once a father with a child, or speaking of a child, in a very nice fashion. I mean, it seemed to me that they had a very nice relationship. It was healthy. It seemed like it. And he said, talking about the kid, the dad, said about the kid, he's so cool. And then he went further and talked about how, they spend time and they hang out and so on. And it made me think, just, again, a beautiful relationship. But it made me think how many parents struggle with relationships with their children to the point where taking the position as teacher over the student, if you will, father to son or mother to son or daughter, and become friends. As we're trying to raise our kids, and I look around and see it all the time, people who want to be friends with their children. And I think this is dangerous, right? That's not your duty, parents, to be their friends. And it's kind of weird, too, if you're friends with your kids. Like, I love my kids, and I am friendly with them. We're not friends. They're teenage girls. They don't like the things that I like, and vice versa. And conversely, my mother and I, now that I'm over 50, have become much more friendly. But we're not friends. She's my mom, right? She still tells me to eat my broccoli. And so I eat my broccoli, right? That relationship, that positioning of parent to child can never change. It's devastating if it does. And you see, as a result of that, but bratty kids and kids that really run the house and they are in charge in the home. They run things where the parents are running back and forth at the whim and at the beck and call of the children, as opposed to vice versa. Now you may say, Father Chris, you're being really harsh. Look, it's devastating for the sake of those children. Let's go back to Psalm 78 we talked about yesterday. In the psalm, in the opening verses of Psalm 78, the psalmist is talking about how fathers have to take the teachings of the law of God and give it to the next generation so that they can give it to the next generation. Greg's going to throw it up on your screen. I'm only going to read for you verse 4. We hear the following. We will not hide them, meaning the teachings of the commandments of the law. We will not hide them from their children, but tell to the coming generation the glorious deeds of the Lord and his might and the wonders which he has wrought. It's the duty, baby. It's the duty of the parent to take the teachings of the Lord and pass them on to the children. To do that sometimes means you've got to be tough. You got to be strong. You have to say, no. And it's sometimes a very hard thing to do. I wish I could give my kids everything that they asked for. I mean, wouldn't that be awesome? But I didn't do it because I knew it was devastating to them. You create monsters when you do that kind of stuff, right? Like kids that are always getting whatever they want. The problem with that is when you give them everything they want, and worse, when you give them alibis and excuses from doing the right thing in their own lives, they get out into the real world, and the real world is all about fighting, baby. It's tough. It's hard. It's not going to give in. Life is going to smack you right, square in the jaw and make it difficult. And if our kids haven't been taught how to live according to the commandments of God, to become strong, focused, independent people, they're going to have a hard time. And let me tell you, I hear a lot of confessions, and I do a lot of counseling, even though I'm not a counselor. And let me tell you, I have evidence. It doesn't work, right? It is our duty as parents to make sure we teach them even when it becomes difficult. Now, the difficulty of that comes sometimes the parents are insecure. I mean, as many manuals as there are written on how to parent, there really isn't one guide that just has it all down, right? You learn how to parent by parenting. It's one of those baptism by fire things. And really what worked for one may not work for another. I know that even in our own home, the way we raised number one had to be tweaked when we raised number two. I mean, they're different human beings. My wife and I are different human beings. We change too. We grow, and things happen. And so all of a sudden, there is this feeling of, I don't know how to do this. I mean, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. How do I raise these kids? The truth of the matter is we must be, as parents, first, independent, strong, focused warrior saints ourselves. We've got to have our own headspace properly aligned so that we are living the commandments of God, that we know them and then live them, so that we can pass them on to the next generation. It's the duty, first and foremost, to be right here so you can give it there to the next generation. Do you understand that? The point I'm making is pretty simple. You cannot be friends with your kids. One day, I promise you, you will start to be friendly with them and the relationship will grow and develop and change. But it's always one of father, mother, and child, right? And they're not on the same plane. We're not equals. We're not, co-workers in the management of house and life. You must be the parent. To do that, you first have to be right in all places. You got to be a warrior saint. Anyhow, all of that rambling today. Love you, beautiful people. It's will help you. I mean, if you're struggling with that, trust me, you're not alone. I mean, you are not alone if you're struggling with that, what is it I want to say? That lack of clarity on how to do it, how to get yourself right. We'll help you do that. I mean, that's why we exist. Don't be shy. I mean, visit us, join us, get on the way of the warrior saint with us so you can take it and pass it to the next generation. Love you. Be back tomorrow. As always, keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.